They called me Scotland's golden heir, the prince born for greatness, the hope of a kingdom. But behind the crown-to-be lay a secret that would bring shame upon my house and ruin the name I carried. This is not just the tale of a prince, it is the confession of a man destroyed by his own desires. Hi everyone. You are welcome to my channel. If you like our stories and similar infidelity stories, please do well to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. And if you are already subscriber, thanks for stopping by, and do not forget to turn on your notification button so as to get notifications anytime we post our stories. Now let's dive into the gist. They called me the Hope of Scotland. From the day I was born, the bells rang in Edinburgh, and my father, King Antonio the Great, declared that a bright star had entered the world. Folk would bow when I walked by, whispering that I was handsome, wise, and ready to rule long before my time. I was only 23, yet the whole kingdom looked at me as their future king. I will nay deny it, I was blessed with gifts that many men would envy. My face was fair, my hair dark as raven feathers, and my eyes the blue of a highland loch at dawn. I read the laws, mastered the sword, and spoke words that made the nobles nod in approval. The Lord said I was a prince full of wisdom, and the ladies said I was a man full of charm. But beneath the gold of my crown-to-be, there lay a shadow. A weakness I could not master, a hunger stronger than any battle I faced. I had no control over my manhood. Though I could command soldiers and win debates in the court, I could not command myself when desire came upon me. It began with the palace maids. They came to the royal house as virgins, sworn to serve with honor. Yet one by one, I drew them into my chambers. Some went with fear in their eyes, others with trembling hands, but none dared speak. For who would dare accuse the heir to Scotland's throne? Their silence was my shield, and I grew bolder by the day. At first, I told myself it harmed no one. The maids were silent, the palace still
shone with laughter, and my father and mother were blind to my sins. But soon, I touched what should never have been touched, even some of my own kin, cousins who trusted me as family. Still, no word was spoken. Fear had locked their tongues. But one maid, Isla, was different. She was not content to weep in silence or hide her pain. She dared to speak. She went to my mother, Queen Mays, to tell her what I had done. Yet instead of hearing the truth, my mother's love for me blinded her. After Isla was dragged to the dungeons, the rest of the maids kept their silence tighter than ever. They walked with bowed heads, never meeting my gaze unless I called for them. And when I called, they obeyed. The truth is, some of them began to act as if they welcomed it. Not because they loved me, but because they had no choice. Better to smile and pretend than to risk the fate Isla suffered. The weight of my title crushed their voices before they could rise. The whispers began small, like smoke curling from an unseen fire. A maid seen leaving my chambers late in the night. A nobleman's daughter caught weeping after a feast. But in the court, such talk was brushed aside. The prince is young, they said. He is spirited, and one day a fine queen will tame him. Even my father, Antonio the Great, saw only the surface. He looked upon me as the heir he had trained, the warrior who would one day guard Scotland's borders. He did not see the darkness festering inside me. Or perhaps, he chose not to look. A king protects his throne, even if it means closing his eyes to the sins of his son. But sin, like a weed, does not stay hidden forever. 3 of the maids grew heavy with child, and though they tried to hide it, their bodies told the tale. They could nay deny what the swelling bellies declared. When their fathers were summoned to the palace, fury blazed in their eyes. Our daughters were virgins when they entered this house, they cried. Now they carry bairns. Who has wronged them?
If this continues, one lord said, Scotland will fall into ruin. How can a man who cannot master himself ever master a throne? Others nodded, their eyes never leaving me. For the first time, I feared the crown would be taken from me before it ever touched my head. My parents wept in silence. My mother clung to me as though her embrace could wash the stain away. My father looked at me with eyes I could not bear. And I stood between them, the heir of Scotland, watching the lineage falter because of my own flesh. The palace that once sang with joy now groaned with sorrow. I had broken not only the trust of my people but the very foundation of my house. The crown, once a promise, now hung above me like a curse. I once thought myself untouchable. A prince crowned in the hearts of the people before the crown itself had ever touched my head. I thought the world bent to me, that nay hand could pull me down. But now, I ken the truth, nay man is greater than his sins. The scandal did not fade as the court had hoped. It spread through every village, every market, every tavern across Scotland. My name, once spoken with pride, now carried with it laughter, pity, or curse. Alexander, they said, the prince who could rule nations but not his own desires. Even the poorest crofter shook his head at the tale. My father could no longer hide his grief. He fell ill, his strength waning like a candle in the wind. I saw in his eyes the fear that the great Antonio's legacy would end not with glory, but with shame. My mother still clung to me, defending me with every disinheritance. Some lords dared to speak it aloud, that I was unfit to be king, that Scotland needed a ruler untainted by scandal. Each word cut at my pride, yet I could not deny the truth in their voices. I had brought this storm upon myself. And then there was Blair. I dreamed of her each night, her face turning away from me, her voice echoing in my mind, "You have shamed me, Alexander." She was gone from my life, and with her went the last light of hope I had. I had betrayed her trust, just as I had betrayed my people. The children born of my folly became living proof of my weakness. Their tiny cries haunted me more than the accusations of the lords. They were innocent, yet their very existence cried out my guilt. I could not look upon them without feeling the weight of what I had done. In the stillness of my chambers, I began to see myself for what I truly was, not the golden heir. And so, the crown that once seemed my destiny now felt like a curse upon my brow. The lineage of my house stood in question, the honor of my name in ruins. My father wept for the throne, my mother wept for her son, and I wept for the man I could have been, but was not. I am Alexander, heir apparent to the throne of Scotland. I was meant to be a king, a leader, a light to my people. Instead, I became their sorrow. This is my confession, my curse, and the mark I will carry until my dying breath. Have you heard or experienced similar situation? Please tell us how you handle it in the comment section, and do not forget to turn on your notification button so as to get notifications anytime we post our stories. Thank you and see you in my next video.